Welcome to Mitchell Moments, a business school podcast presented by the Mitchell College of Business at the University of South Alabama. This podcast gives you insights into the instructors, students, and culture of a high-level business school degree program. Plus, we give you tips and lessons learned from current students to give you a head start on your new academic life and career. I'm your host, Stacy Wellborn. I'm a current Ph.D. student at USA, and I'm making the podcast I wish I would have had before starting back to school. Today, I am so excited for you to hear this first episode and to meet one of my favorite teachers and a fantastic leader of the USA Mitchell College of Business, Dr. Joesph Hair. Dr. Hair shares his teaching journey from LSU to Kennesaw State to the University of South Alabama and all points in between. More importantly, he shares his valuable insights on choosing to start a business Ph.D. program, selecting the right type of program for you, and what it takes to succeed at a top-level business school and Ph.D. program. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today, Dr. Hair. What about teaching is it that you love, and kind of tell me how that started?
Well, actually, I got into teaching by accident. I was in a master's program, and they needed some graduate assistants to teach, and I really never planned to or thought about the idea. And they came to me, and I said yes. And I particularly said yes because they were willing to pay me extra money. I've always been motivated by money. So I got into teaching simply because they asked me to teach. And once I got into it, I enjoyed it. And the thing that over the years that I've enjoyed the most about teaching really is interacting with students. And particularly since I've been teaching statistics, demonstrating to them that something that they feared, which is statistics, is not nearly as difficult as they might anticipate. I think the major obstacle is that a lot of individuals are concerned about solving equations and understanding that. And in our program, we really don't do that. We work on teaching people what the statistics are, how to use them. When you get numbers as an output, what do those numbers mean? And how do you apply them to make business decisions? And so that's something they're interested in as opposed to solving equations.
I've had people ask me about statistics when I started the program, and ever since that seems to be the biggest concern people have about the program is every semester I have to take a class on statistics. Do you hear people worried about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. And the interesting thing is you almost never have students that when they get about halfway through the program say, I really enjoy statistics and I never thought I would. And it's actually not as hard as I thought it would be. And they think it's probably because of the approach that we use.
I would agree. It changed the way I think about statistics with your classes, and you are a great teacher. You make it approachable and digestible and not scary.
Another thing about it is when you're teaching statistics, you need to use a lot of examples because if the concepts that you're talking about are not relevant to the people at hand, then they're going to be turned off. And so if you can add relevant examples relevant to statistics and everyday life and how people might actually use them, then it becomes interesting and people become more motivated because they see how they can use statistics to improve their life and to be more successful.
Well, would you say that that's really with the new business analytics program that you developed? Essentially, that is the application of statistics in our business environment is everything we're talking about in industry right now.
Absolutely. The application of statistics and analytical methods is a critical element of being successful in business and in your career, not just in the next 5 years, but I think as long as I can see into the future, I'm not sure what would replace it because, when we take all the information that's available, we need to convert it to knowledge, and statistics helps us to convert that information into knowledge. And of course, knowledge makes life simpler, easier, and enables us to understand what's happening and to make better decisions and be more successful in our careers.
Well, let's back up a little bit and talk specifically about the program. So you have been at USA now for 4 years. This will be your fourth fall. Is that correct? Your fourth cohort?
Actually, five.
5.
I've completed 5 years. Yeah, I came in 2016, and so 2021 is the end of my 5th year.
Well, this last year
Goes fast.
And the last year was so wacky. My whole sense of time is off. Talk a little bit about why you wanted to come to USA and sort of your vision for the program moving forward now that you're 5 years in.
Well, I started a similar program at Kennesaw State, and I spent about 10 years there, and I enjoyed that very much. The program was very successful, but I was looking for an opportunity to come back to the Gulf Coast. And in particular, I grew up in a warmer climate in Florida than Atlanta, where Kennesaw State is. And so I was cold up there. The opportunity to come down and lead a program here in a warmer climate and something closer to the Gulf Coast, where we had purchased a home there really 41 years ago. I wanted to get back closer because it was 6 hours away from Atlanta, and it's 1 hour away now.
Even better.
And of course, when I was interviewing for the job, I was very much interested in what the foundation was and what the leadership was. And in talking with the dean of the College of Business, I learned that he was supportive of the program, as was Mr. Mitchell, and that if I came here, they were going to support the growth in the innovation and the development of the program. Had that not been here, it would not have mattered about the location if the opportunities weren't here to grow the program.
So how has it grown in 5 years?
Well, when I initially came here, it was a rather small program. Each year we were taking in about 8 or 9 students. The focus was only on management. We had a single concentration, but we wanted to grow the program and add additional concentrations. So my first year here, we added marketing, and we built that program, and we were accepting 18 to 20 students. So we about doubled the size of the program within about 3 years. And then I kept monitoring the business environment and the opportunities for our students. And it became apparent that analytics was going to be a very important direction of business education. And so we did our due diligence in looking at new programs, and we identified ultimately business analytics as the best concentration. That journey took us in the direction of entrepreneurship and innovation and also family business, which are important programs, and we may still add those as concentrations, but we wanted to be the first mover in the market or among the first movers in the market. And we were, in fact, one of the first movers. Our due diligence determined that there were only 5 other programs, and we were the 6th to enter, and none of the programs were older than 2 years. And so by stepping out in front and offering something new and different, then gave us the opportunity to distinguish South Alabama from a lot of other universities that are much more visible, and they're not doing these kinds of programs. So we jumped on the bandwagon and said, we can do it, and we did it. In fact, our first year, we had about 100 applications from which we selected only, I believe, 9 people. And there would have been a lot more. We could have clearly doubled or maybe even tripled, but we were selecting only the best. That was really the appropriate strategy to follow, because anytime you offer a new program, you run into bumps in the road. And we haven't run into any bumps in the road yet, but you always want to be careful, because students are making a big commitment to join a program like this. And you want to make sure that you deliver the quality of the program that you're promising. So it's kind of like under promise and over deliver, which is a long-term marketing philosophy that I learned in my early years studying marketing and have followed throughout my career.
Well, it's exciting times now. So the program continues to grow.
Absolutely.
So before you were at Kennesaw, before South Alabama, before Kennesaw, you were at LSU, right? And then prior to that, Ole Miss.
Right.
So when you were at LSU and Ole Miss, those were traditional programs. And now the last 2 have been what we might call non-traditional or executive type Ph.D. programs. Will you talk about the benefits and why you see that type of program is really growing?
Traditional doctoral programs are very good programs, but they are traditional as the label applies. And they focus on full-time students, which we do as well, but full-time students who are able and willing to join the program to pursue their degree and also teach and conduct research. So in effect, any student that joins the program has to quit their job. And when I was particularly at LSU, which is located on the Mississippi River with many chemical plants and a large industrial base, there were many individuals, a lot of them engineers, who were coming to the College of Business there and asking about joining our Ph.D. program, not just in marketing, but in management and other fields. And traditional programs only accept students who are willing to quit their job and hang around the college all the time. And the individuals that were inquiring about our Ph.D. program were very good students with a lot of success, not just in academic roles and with their master's degree, but also success in industry. And so I decided that we should, particularly when I went to Kennesaw after I left LSU, I decided that starting a program at what you would call a regional university, which is like we are here. From my marketing background, I decided that we couldn't be what you call a Me Too program. We had to do something different. And particularly being located in Atlanta, you have Emory, you have Georgia Tech, you have Georgia about an hour away, you have Alabama about 2 hours away, you have Tennessee about 2 hours away. All of those programs had established doctoral programs. Some of those doctoral programs that had been in place for more than 100 years and were high quality programs. So how could a new program compete? And so using my marketing background, I determined that we could differentiate ourselves from traditional programs by having an equivalent degree in terms of quality and content that you deliver, but repackaging the way you deliver it. So we have an equivalent requirements in terms of coursework and comparable coursework, but the in-person component of it, we deliver 9 weekends a year. And when I say 9 weekends, I want to clarify that because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it's only 9 times that they have to take off work for a Friday, 9 times a year. And all of the individuals that are interested in our program are in positions where they have sufficient vacation time if that's required. In fact, most companies are happy that their students are pursuing additional education because that makes them better employees if they remain with the company. But we were able to differentiate it by offering a quality program, but delivered on weekends with a lot of in-between work, and that was very appealing. In fact, at our information sessions over the years, it's not uncommon for us to have 30 to 40 people, and we would have several information sessions in the fall when we recruit, and many, many individuals would come to inquire. So there's a lot of interest in it. And of course, once you devote your time and attention and energy to a program like this, you want to make sure that there are opportunities for individuals to apply what they've learned in the program. And we've had a lot of success, not only here, but elsewhere, placing people in positions. In fact, many of the individuals that come to this kind of program want to, after their many years working in industry, they're looking for a mid-career transition into a less stressful environment. And the university, while you have to work hard and teach and conduct research, it's much less stressful than industry. So we're basically preparing individuals for mid-career transitions if they want to teach, but also we're preparing individuals who are interested in moving out of the high-stress industry positions into what we call the gig economy these days. They can easily take what they learn in our doctoral program, hang out a shingle that says consultant in marketing or consultant in business analytics, and the PhD degree and their skills and their abilities that they've learned not only in industry, but combining it with the knowledge they get out of a program like ours has enabled them to move on and be very successful.
Excellent. Tell me, people who are considering programs, PhD programs, what are some questions they should ask if they're looking at a variety of programs?
Number one, you have to decide whether or not you really want to quit your job. And most people don't. They don't because they have house payments, car payments, kids in school, and so forth. So it's very difficult after you've been working for even a few years, but certainly after you've been working 10 or 15 years to back away from the things you've become accustomed to, particularly when you have a family. So our program is ideal for an individual who's intellectually curious, motivated to work hard, and interested in continuing their education. The questions they need to ask, there are a couple of questions they need to ask that are very important. Number one, is the program AACSB accredited? Students often ask the question, what about accreditation? But they don't understand that AACSB accreditation is the only accreditation in business that is valued. Many programs offer online PhD programs or online doctoral programs, and they could not qualify and become members of AACSB. And the result was they created their own accreditation program. So it's unfortunate, but quite a few students who do not do their due diligence join programs that do not have the accreditation that is valued in the marketplace. And they learn only after they invest several years in getting their degree. So the first thing is AACSB, Assembly of Colleges and Schools in Business accreditation. And the second thing is that they should not attend an entirely online program. Entirely online programs, really almost all levels, but particularly at the doctoral level, are not valued. And individuals who receive their degree from an online program, at least those in business, will have difficulty finding a job upon graduation. So those are the two most important things. Beyond accreditation and not going to an online program, though, part of the due diligence process involves checking out the faculty, because the program is only as good as the faculty, and the individuals that are teaching in a doctoral program need to be engaged not just in teaching, but they need to be engaged in research, because a doctoral program is very different from certainly an undergraduate program, but much different from an MBA. A lot of the individuals have their Master in Business Administration. And when you're in the Master of Business Administration, you basically learn about what we call best practices and how to apply those best practices. So someone else, another scholar or another professor has identified and developed a list of best practices to be successful managers or best practices to be successful marketing people. But when you're in a master's program, all you do is learn what someone else has developed. At the doctoral level, you learn some more about best practices, but you basically undertake to develop your own best practices in a specific area. So as far as pursuing a program at the PhD level, the way you approach it, the study that you engage in, you must learn a lot about theories and how those theories can be applied to examine and test and ultimately develop some best practices. So one of the things that we emphasize in doctoral programs that's very different is how you can develop new programs that others will look at and say, well, that's a new best practice that I should consider whether it would apply in my situation.
I can't remember if you said this or another of our faculty. I'd never heard it said this way, but undergraduate education teaches you what to know. Master's teaches you what to do. Master's teaches you how to do it. And the PhD teaches you why to do it. That was an interesting, 3 levels.
Yeah. What I would say is I don't think that was me because I don't recall sharing that, but I think it's an excellent way to differentiate the degrees and what's involved and what you can expect to gain in terms of knowledge when you pursue degrees at these various levels.
You highlighted that you suggested not doing a fully online program. And what I liked about our program was the 9 months, the 9 weekends. The weekend programs, to me, made the difference in our program. When we were not able to have those, fortunately in my group, we only missed, I think, 1 or 2 at the end. I miss seeing my friends, and I miss seeing you and all of our professors. And that camaraderie that we were able to develop as a cohort was so important in helping me and my classmates, I think, successfully complete the program.
Absolutely. I had not mentioned it, as you point out, but one of the key aspects of being successful in the program is, number one, to make sure you're good at time management, because you'll have to be good at time management in order to continue to do well in your job that is a full-time job. You have 2 full-time jobs in a program like this, the program itself and your regular full-time job. So you have to prepare for hard work. You have to prepare to apply your management of time, but you also have to find other students in the program who have similar study habits and similar motivations to study with and exchange ideas, because you will learn a lot from those other students who are also highly committed, like all of our students are in the final analysis. So definitely that's important. In fact, when you're in a program like this and you're totally immersed and everybody is facing similar kinds of challenges, then even the non-academic, the non-study kinds of aspects where you get away and you exchange ideas and explore different kinds of directions of pursuing your doctoral research, those are valuable as a means of helping you to be successful in a program like this.
Yeah, the conversations we have outside of the classroom, I know for me, it's shaped my thoughts, and I think for many of us.
One thing that I also think that's very important about a successful program is the culture that is part of the program. In our program here, and in some other programs, but not all programs, you have very successful people. They just have not been successful in a doctoral kind of program, but they've been successful in management, they've been successful in life, and they're very capable of doing a lot of things. And so when you have individuals like that in the program, you have to respect the knowledge and the capability that they bring to the table. You must treat them not necessarily as equals, but almost like equals, and respect what they bring to the classroom, as well as what you as a professor must bring. If you contrast that from what I've heard from individuals in other programs, that there often is a separation between the faculty and the students, even at the doctoral level, which is kind of like, well, you're a student and I'm a faculty and I'm special, and you're not so special because you don't have the degree. And to me, the culture of respecting and understanding and giving credit to students for what they bring to the program is really almost as important as the professors that are teaching the program.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, the other cultural aspect that you've created in this program is a culture of cooperation and not competition. We all support each other as students. We support each other, and even cohort to cohort support each other. One of my best friends in the program is probably one of the best students in the program, and she's amazingly talented, and I could be jealous of that, but I support her and she supports me. I mean, that's the beauty of it, I think.
Well, one of the things, and you may not recall this, but one of the things that we always tell students when they start out in the program is, like you say, it's not a program where you come to compete with the other students. This is a program where everyone would not be admitted into the program unless they were capable of being successful. They have the knowledge, they have the ability. The only obstacles that tend to come in their way that prevent them from being successful are personal challenges that are not controllable, such as health issues or other family issues that prevent them from spending the time. It is not competitive, it's supportive. And definitely that's an equally important component of the culture.
Another question I wanted to ask you, I've had other people ask me this. For students considering or starting the program who don't have a specific research area, because by the end, obviously, in your dissertation, you have a very specific focus and question, right? An area that you want to, and you train us to have a couple of focus areas that we will become experts in, right? I mean, that's the goal. But when you start the program and don't have that, what is your advice to someone coming in saying, I don't know what I want to research?
First off, almost all students who come into the program have little idea about what a doctoral program is. I mean, some of them come in and they say that, in fact, I think I'm interested in learning more about leadership, or I think I'm interested in learning more about best management practices, or I think I'm interested in learning about developing effective social media programs. But what they're missing very often is how you combine interest and ideas with something that will make a contribution towards identifying best practices. And the contributions that we're talking about are ones that build on existing theories, but extend those theories into areas that if you've never been in a PhD program, you haven't thought of. So what I would say to people, and what we really say in general, is we're glad you have good ideas, and we don't want to tell you no, because you've obviously made the decision of what your ideas are in coming and based on your prior experience. But you're going to learn a lot of different concepts when you get in the program. And what we really want you to do is to bring to the table what your skills and expertise are, but to listen to us as we share with you other areas. And we also encourage you not to only focus on what you come into the program considering and thinking about pursuing, but to be open to learning other things that might be even more interesting than what you came into the program. And then as you get towards the end of your coursework, your 2 years of coursework, that's when we say, okay, you've probably come up with 4 or 5 different ideas, even though you started out with 1 or 2. What you need to decide is which of these ideas do you want to spend the next year on? Because a year is a long time to say, I'm only going to focus on one thing. So after you have identified something that you can live with for a year or maybe a year and a half, because everyone doesn't graduate and finish their doctoral dissertation 1 year. So something that you could spend an extended period of time with and not get bored with it. And also something that is not so simple, it doesn't make a contribution. Those ideas, by the way, come not only from working with and talking to your professors and your advisors, but as we mentioned elsewhere, those ideas come from other students in your program that you talk to not only in class, but outside of class. So I would encourage individuals that are in the program to talk about their ideas, not only with their professors, but talk about those ideas with other students in the program. And not, if you're in marketing, not just other marketing students. If you're in management, not just other management students and so forth. But talk to the people in other areas with other interests, and that might pique your interest and give you ideas that you hadn't anticipated.
What is your best advice for someone who's considering a PhD program?
Well, number one, do your due diligence. This is a huge commitment and an expensive commitment. And make sure that you check out the program fully. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, avoid universities that are fully online universities, avoid universities that are not AACSB accredited. And then the thing I haven't mentioned is that depending upon your life situation, if you have a significant other, then you need to prepare those individuals that your time commitment to them is going to change. And the preparation involves not only talking with your significant other who is an adult, but talk to your kids as well. Because while you're in a program like this, you're going to not be able to have the time to spend with your other family members. And they need to understand and support this as a short-term kind of situation that will lead to other better opportunities for the future.
Amen to that. How about your best advice for an incoming student to survive and thrive in this program?
Well, be open to change and be prepared to shift your priorities from weekends at the beach and streaming movies and relaxing as much. Doesn't mean you do not have at least some time to relax, but you need to be prepared to shift those priorities at least for the first couple of years, because that's when you're in a very highly structured program and you have deadlines that you must meet. What I would say is that in a lot of ways, deadlines are important, even though they make it impossible for you to continue, participating in some things you've done in the past. But deadlines that you face in the first couple of years are important because that structures you and gives you deadlines. The third year, which is very much independent compared to the first couple of years that are highly structured, if individuals are good at managing their time and focusing, then they will finish in a year. We have about probably 50 to 60%, and it varies from year to year, but 50 to 60% of individuals who actually finish their doctoral research, their dissertation in 1 year. And if you combine that with the 2 years of coursework, that means that you have 50 to 60, maybe 65% of the students who actually finish the program in 3 years. So you just need to be prepared to make your adjustments and decide that your commitment is towards the program, and that the program will dictate that you change your lifestyle, but it's only a short-term change, and that the light is very bright at the end of your journey because it opens up new horizons and new opportunities that you never could have anticipated before joining a program like this.
One last question, then I'll let you have any final thoughts. What is your best advice for those finishing the program that are early in their academic career to be as successful as you've been in yours?
What I would say is students often, they see how I've been successful, but they also see how other professors have been successful, and they want immediate success. And I have to say to them that I took years to be where I am, as did the other faculty that you'll be exposed to in this program. And so you need to be patient and think about the fact that what is my goal for this year and next year and the year after, and understand that being successful in a new career in something that you haven't worked in for really at all in your life is not something that you just turn on and achieve success. What we can do for you in a doctoral program is we can provide you with a foundation that will create a lot of other opportunities that were never available in the past, but we can't make you successful unless you continue your learning, because we give you the foundation, but we don't give you the entire abilities and skills to be successful, because we can't possibly do that in 3 years.
Excellent. Dr. Hair, can you talk about the different types of schools that some of our graduates choose who are pursuing an academic path?
In your search for a university position, this is a situation where you need to do self-reflection on what you want your lifestyle to be like. If you go to a major state university, your research requirements and your commitment to research are going to be very high. Can you be successful? Yes, you can. My first two universities, Ole Miss and LSU, were what we call Tier 1 or Carnegie 1 level, and a heavy research requirement. But that may not be what everyone wants. And, just as in life, we don't want everyone to be the same. So there are many good opportunities for what you might call a more balanced lifestyle at regional universities. And actually, many of our students choose that. Where have we placed some? Well, we placed some in some of the Alabama schools, University of Alabama, Birmingham. We've placed them at Troy University, but other similar kind of universities, including University of West Florida, Southern Mississippi, Middle Tennessee, Nicholls State, and some of the local universities like Spring Hill College and University of Mobile. Each of those universities and schools provide different kinds of opportunities, with some emphasizing teaching more and some emphasizing research a little bit more. Maybe 50-50 research and teaching. But in approaching an academic situation, you need to think about your lifestyle and your personal considerations. There are also individuals that are limited by regional locations. Maybe a significant other has a job and can't move. And so you would then be limited to universities within commuting distance of where you're currently living or where your significant other and you live. So you may choose a different kind of opportunity than you would choose if you were flexible with the opportunity to move. We also have a number of individuals that are limited in the sense that they would like to have a position at a religiously oriented university. And if that's a choice that they've made, then there are opportunities there as well. And the lifestyle is clearly a little bit different there. So the way you start the process is to say what works for me or what works for me and my family. And once you make those kinds of decisions, then you can pursue the kinds of opportunities that are consistent with those kinds of decisions. The nice thing about it is if you choose to pursue one of those opportunities and you decide 1, 2, or 3 years down the road that maybe you wanted a little bit different one, you've got your degree, you've got your Ph.D. that qualifies you to teach and do research in a number of different situations, and you'll have the flexibility to move as long as you focus on teaching, which is very important, and get good teaching evaluations. And if you are wanting to pursue a career that involves some research, you must publish, but you don't have to publish a lot. Publishing one article a year will make you marketable. And if you want to publish more, that's great, but don't ignore your teaching. You need to be at least outstanding or very good in teaching and research, but you don't need to be at the top. You can be very successful with being a good teacher and a moderate publisher. In life, it's a normal distribution. And if everybody was a one type, then that would be probably be a very boring kind of situation. So it's always good to recognize that in life, people are different, and that diversity creates opportunities. And it also often creates satisfaction with what you can do that you will do in a similar fashion to some of the people, but there will be others who, in fact, want to pursue other areas.
I think you said that beautifully.
Well, good.
And thank you. And just on a personal note, it makes me feel good because I'm an average student, but I do think I'm a really good teacher.
Well, even average students, if that's how you want to self-identify, have something to contribute in life. And so what people need to reflect on is, how do you want to contribute? And you have a long time to contribute. And the way you contribute now may not be the way you want to contribute in 5 years or 10 years. And one of the things in life that you need to think about is how do you continue to, quote, reinvent yourself? In my career as an academic, I've done a number of different things, but in general, I got sort of bored after about 7 or 8 or 10 years, and I reinvented myself. When I started my career, I had limited knowledge of research and publishing. I had some knowledge of teaching, so I didn't have to devote much time there. But about 5 or 6 years into my job, I got interested in administration, and so I became chairman of a department. I did that a long time because nobody wanted me to quit, but eventually I was able to convince my dean that I needed a change. And so I started an entrepreneurship institute at Louisiana State University. It was one of fewer than 10. Again, similar opportunity to what we're pursuing here in business analytics. And when I left LSU, we were ranked in the top 10 in the U.S. because we were first movers. We were early movers in that space. And then I went on to Kennesaw State, where I started the non-traditional doctoral program. So when you're in academics, that's really one of the benefits is there are lots of ways for you to carve out opportunities for yourself with the skills that you learn in a PhD program. And particularly for individuals that are like the students in our program, in a non-traditional program, they have management and administrative skills. And increasingly, universities need individuals who are capable of teaching others who have had experiences in industry. And they also have learned management skills that younger individuals who are early in the program don't have. So it's a self-assessment of, number one, what you want to do, but number two, where are the skills that you can apply and at the same time enjoy your personal life and your professional life, and finding a balance there.
Well, I think we have to wrap up. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Mitchell Moments, presented by the University of South Alabama Mitchell College of Business. Please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. It really helps the show be found by more wonderful listeners like you. If you want to know more about this podcast or the USA Mitchell College of Business and any of their undergraduate and graduate programs, visit the About page on mitchellmomentspodcast.com. All the different links will be there for you to get more information on enrollment, financial matters, and admission requirements. The links can also be found in the show notes. We would love to know what you think about our show. Please contact us at mitchellmomentspodcast.com with any comments, suggestions, or just to say hello. Until next time, thanks again for listening to the Mitchell Moments podcast, and go Jags!